سلام دوستان عزیز، نوشین نیکفرجام هستم در برنامه دانش و آگاهی در تلویزیون عصر امروز یک مهمون بسیار نازنین دارم که قبلا مهمون من بودند و چون زبون اصلیشون بیشتر انگلیسیه ما امروز ترجیح دادیم که تمام برنامه رو به انگلیسی برنامه رو اجرا کنیم. در نتیجه فقط همین چند لحظه اول که من سلام اول رو به آقای ادموند تربتی میکنم به فارسیه و بقیهش به انگلیسی خواهد بود. امیدوارم از این برنامه لذت ببرین و چیزهایی یاد بگیرین و با دوستان و آشنایان خودتون و ویدیو رو به اشتراک بذارین. سلام ادموند جون.
Hello my love.
خیلی خوشحالم که اومدیم. از الان به بعد شروع میکنیم به ترجمه.
Yes, we're going to do all in English. Thank you for, and that's all because of me. And I appreciate the last two shows we did. We did it in Farsi, but thank you for allowing me to do it in English. It's going to support people the best because it's my native tongue.
That's true. So I'm going to say hello again to our English-speaking audience. This is Noushin Nikfarjam. This is knowledge and awareness at Asre Emrooz TV. We are going to dedicate this program to basically to all of you, but people who are a little bit spiritual, more on the spiritual side, might even like this program more than other people. I have a very special guest here, Mr. Edmond Torbati. He's been my guest before, and before you were a psychic healer or a coach. That was your title when you started last year in my program. But we are not going to talk about that. I'm going to give you a bio about Edmond, and you'll understand what he does at this time. He's been very helpful to me in my life the past few years that I have known you. Yeah. And I really appreciate and admire him in my life. So with your permission, I'm going to read your bio.
Thank you, thank you.
Edmond Torbati is a life coach who channels God to unlock purpose, career, health, relationships, and happiness. He provides clarity, guidance, and tools so you can channel God directly yourself, empowering you to be self-reliant in your spiritual journey. Having supported over 1,500 individuals, Edmond offers sessions in person in Santa Monica, California, as well as via video and phone. So, first and foremost, what do you mean that you channel God?
Well, first I want to say thanks for having me again for the third time. I'm honored, I'm blessed, and I love you. And I'm grateful to call you mentor and a friend.
Thank you.
So,
yeah,
God bless you.
Thank you.
So what is channeling God? It's a great question. It just means that we're connecting with God to give us insights and guide us. And we literally can get all the information from that. And that's literally what we're doing. Some people might call it connecting with higher self, higher power, higher consciousness. I like to use the term God.
Okay. And what's the difference between what you do and using your full intuition?
They're the same thing, and I think that's what's beautiful about speaking about intuition. It's just another term, right? Some people can call it, I have a gut feeling,
right?
Or my intuition tells me this, or my spidey sense tells me this. But I like to really go to the highest consciousness, and I like to get people more connected to God and higher power, and it could really literally be the same thing. People call it different things,
So next question is, how do you connect to God? Aren't we all connected to God somehow?
Great question. I'm just grateful that it's been a journey. So I've had the aptitude. It's all God-given that I've had the aptitude since I was young with intuition.
Right.
But I needed and go through a personal development in this life. Forget past lives, obviously prepared me for this life, which is a whole other subject. But what really happened was I went on this personal journey since I was 14 years old. And did a lot of seminars, read a lot of books, and therapists, cognitive behavioral therapists, and try to be successful and learning from all angles, right? And then what really shifted me was going to deeper work to help me heal from Crohn's disease, which we've talked about before. And that work, and then other works in India and Tony Robbins' guru, took me to deeper levels to really open up my third eye, connect with heart space, and connect with Source and God. So essentially, it was that I needed the right training. I had the aptitude, but the right training to be able to take it to these higher levels. And then the best part about it is supporting others to get there as well if they want it, because we all can improve upon that.
That's true. Tell us about, before I go to my questions, in what you exactly do, I would like our audience to know what is your background, because I know you were a businessman, but I don't know if people know that about you. You did a lot. It's not that out of a sudden you decided just to go into spirituality and getting to know yourself and God and all that. I know that you have a huge background, and on the other hand, you're a businessman. So if you don't mind, tell us, because I want the audience to understand that this is not the only thing people do. I mean, we are not monks.
Absolutely.
This is just a part of our lives that we use spirituality to help us more in order to get to where we need to get, or our clients to get to where they need to go. And I know that your intuition is always like, oh my God, can I tell you how I feel or what comes to me from God? And you get channeled.
Right.
So this is amazing. I don't see people like that every day in my life. That's why you're so special to me.
Thank you. I love you too. But again, that's all God's grace and the want, right? And I think that's the important thing, is the want. So I think since I've been young, I always felt like a black sheep in the family. You know, I'm Persian, and I'm also raised Jewish. And so those who can identify with either or both, right? I think I felt small. I didn't feel like I was good enough. And I think that was part of my journey, that when you look back, it was also a blessing, because in reality, I needed to go through some of those challenges and like drive my 1990 4-year-old Nissan Sentra used car that was light blue. And I told my dad, I'm like, I go to Santa Monica High School, you know, and we have people who have like high-end cars, and, you know, they're coming from a whole different echelon. And I didn't feel strong. I felt like weaker. I felt smaller. I felt like I wasn't enough, right? And I was like, Dad, what is this light blue? You know, he's like, you should be happy. It's low mileage. It's a good car. It's reliable. But at the time, you know, when you're like, you know, 17 years old, you know, there's different priorities, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And we all want to be accepted, right? So it's just been a journey. We're all learning, and I'm always learning every day. But it started with me just wanting to prove that I'm good enough, and that's where it's a mistake. And that's where most of us are, right?
That's right.
And so I think proving that I'm good enough was what caused a lot of my challenges, including my illness with Crohn's, right? And then doing things that were not aligned with my purpose, which we'll get to later, right? Which is a big area. And so this is all part of our journey. So, I got to be successful so that I could be significant and important, so that therefore I get attention. But in reality, what I was missing was self-love. I was trying to get it indirectly. That's right. And it's a story for most, right? We all want love, but if we lack it internally. So I'm grateful that I had a chance to go to USC, University of Southern California. I went there to study business because I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so I went to the entrepreneur program, which at the time was top 3 in the nation.
Right.
And so these are all great experiences, right? And then I'm grateful that I ran a business for over 15 years and was successful, but at times I wanted to kill myself. Like, I literally was like, how do I get out of this business? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I felt stuck. I had an employee. It was a small business, but luckily it afforded me to do a lot of spiritual work, travel, go to India a couple times, and do the deep work that healed me from Crohn's. And so the blessings of all these are, I wanted it. I was searching. And then the key was that I had enough pain that I wanted to go figure it out, like the Crohn's disease or the depression or the bipolar diagnoses, right? So now I'm just grateful that I could be able to support people. It's a blessing. I love it. I enjoy it just like you.
Yeah.
We just want to serve, you know?
Exactly. We have gone through a lot in our lives. just to find ourselves. And it's interesting, we all always talk about self-love everywhere. And people think that it's cliche. It's not, because even in marriage, if you don't have self-love, you're needy all the time, you know? When you're not needy because you have self-love, you love the person because you really love them and can do something for them. So it just, or for your kids. I mean, in your case, you don't have children, but I mean, you see a lot of parents who don't have self-love, and they see themselves in their children, and they do things for the kids, but they never take care of themselves. And they start creating diseases that it will be one of my questions after as soon as I start asking you the other questions.
Let's do it.
But this is very true. So you started your journey by basically proving yourself that you're enough, you're important.
Yeah,
and then you got into all this
and it
stuff.
reminds me of funny things, because I think a lot of people in our community, whether they live in Los Angeles, United States, Canada, Europe, you're in Iran, it doesn't matter. It's literally like the same thing. Like, I literally felt in our family and the cousins, and we would have Shabbat Friday night dinners, and it was almost like I had to be louder than everybody. I had to try to tell my stories so I got the attention to say, like, look what I did, and none of them did that. And and the thing is, it was almost like it was a lack. Something was lacking that I had to show, because I kept hearing from the people around me, including my loving parents, but why don't you go be a doctor or lawyer or dentist, or why? And it's almost like you hear it everywhere. So you feel like you're not good enough, and then you question everything. Right. And then that's why I'm so grateful that when we really get close to God and we surrender and we have faith and we listen and trust what our guidance is, right? Then life is just beautiful. It's amazing. True. That's what I want for everyone. I know you want that too.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're going to have a lot of fun today.
Yeah. And the way you run your sessions, it's all what you say. Exactly. I mean, it's all full of love and affection, and your connection with God shows every time. I mean, even when I talk to Edmond on the phone, it's like a session. It's it's just a hello, goodbye, a friendly hello, goodbye. It becomes like a coaching session, and I love it. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. And also, you were supportive. I remember we talked about a situation I had when we were on the show, and I was grateful that it opened up some doors to a client that was in Turkey, and then their family was in Iran, and then she set me up with a bunch of her family, and then you and I have talked about stuff that I've had challenges with, where we're supporting each other. We keep everything private, but we talk about certain things, and then your perspectives support me too. So I honor you and appreciate you, obviously, because you've been around and have a different perspectives. And psychotherapist, PhD, multiple, books. So I also look up to you. So thank you.
Thank you. And for people who don't know how we met, this is very interesting.
Yeah, tell them. This is cool.
I used to work for a non-profit organization by the name of the Bianca Foundation. Since 2018 until last year, I was teaching high school kids. Basically, there were not self-development classes, but life skill classes. I had different things for them on Zoom and live. And once I had to go on vacation with my husband. So I asked the founder to bring somebody in. And she brought Edmond to my class. And what I did was, because those were my kids, I didn't trust anyone. So I had to make sure that they send me a video of what Edmond is doing. So I know that he's proper and he's a good, a good teacher. And not only the kids fell in love with Edmond, I started having a great relationship with him. And he became my coach for a while. And we taught together with the kids, and the kids loved him until the last time you were there. So he's just amazing with young kids and adults, doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
thank you.
And talking and relating to high school kids is not that easy a lot of times.
Right.
I mean, they look at us and say, "Oh my God, these are." I mean, you're not old, but they're probably looking and say, "She's so old. What does she know about us?" But you know,
Right.
you really connect with them. You talk the same way they do. And this is such a blessing for a teacher or a coach to, you know, to be able to do that with their clients or
Thank
their
you.
students.
Thank
So-
you. Well, first, I honor you because you were the lead teacher for a long time.
Yeah.
And
thank
so
you.
I'm grateful that you wanted me to teach as well and co-teach, which is fun. We
Yeah.
co-taught as well, which was really fun.
You did.
And really these high school students need it, you know. And
Yeah.
I think this is so important that we should all pray, and whoever's listening, to have more programs like the Bianca Foundation that
Yeah.
Nilüfer leads, because, you know, at the end of the day, they're not being taught real skills that they need in life.
That's true. That's
And
true.
and I you know what's kind of thing is the thing I loved about it, I love teaching them the teachings. However, I really wished I felt like handcuffed, like I was in a jail that like I couldn't, because we're dealing with Beverly Hills High, Palisades High.
Yeah.
By the way, how sad is it for those who don't know? But
That's
that whole
true.
school burned down in the Palisades. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So we dealt with like Venice High. But the thing is, what's crazy about it is that like I wanted to give messages to people, and I was like I couldn't do it because they can't get cut off because they're dealing with the schools. And again, that's another reason why there's limitations with our school system,
Sure.
which I believe is really, really broken,
That's
unfortunately.
true. Yeah. But we can always do something ourselves with the kids,
Yeah.
because you know, the way we teach is different. We bring a lot of spirituality to everything.
Yeah.
And my students actually, they got really used to it and introduced to spirituality, and they had fun with it. They would understand it, they would feel it. So I feel very blessed that I had that opportunity for those years to be there.
Yeah, and they
And
they
the
obviously
connection.
love you.
Yeah, the
and they
connection
still
with the
keep in
kids.
touch with
Yeah.
you. And I know, just because I know the situation. I know that you left because you wanted to be able to serve in different capacities.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously they miss you. You know.
Yeah, I miss them too. But I just talked to one of the moms right before getting into the studio.
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
because I was
Oh,
worried
nice.
about the situation of Palisade High School, and they're trying to find at least some kind of like a parking lot or warehouse or something big that they can at least start school till the end of the year.
Oh
because they're
wow!
on
Is that
Zoom.
what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, they're on Zoom. I thought
Yeah.
maybe some went to another school. I heard.
Some of them did, but some of them could not get
Let's
into
pray
it.
for that.
Yeah.
That's a tough situation.
Yeah, it's
but
very-
it could be also a big blessing, because our school system is really broken.
Yeah.
And so I think if parents take ownership, and kids take ownership, that's why nowadays people could learn online. They could do anything for free. You have AI, you have YouTube. There's also like homeschooling. So there's so many different ways to learn.
Yeah.
So I think we got to all take ownership too.
That's
you know?
true. That's true. But it's a little bit difficult on the kids because, we went through that during
Yeah,
COVID.
we were doing Zoom.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah,
you know?
it was hard. It was hard for them. Then they got used to Zoom, and then schools opened up. They had to go back to school, and that was another difficult situation because now they were used to being on Zoom, and their schedules were different. So, I really pray that everything
Yeah.
becomes normal for them as soon as possible. It's not that easy. So, let me ask you a few questions that I have here.
Shoot. Let's do it.
You said that you provide clarity, guidance, and tools. So, through unlocking purpose, career, health, relationships, and happiness. So, the first question comes up is, how do you help people discover their life or soul purpose? And why is having a clear purpose so crucial to their growth here and beyond?
I just ask God. So
Okay.
it's just channeling God to ask what certain persons, whatever the question is for them. The question might be, why are you here? Might be the guided question. Or what do you need to learn while you're here in this life? Or what is your ultimate soul purpose, which we've had past lives. This is just one experience on
Right.
earth here. For many of you who don't understand, of course, we can maybe get into it. That's a whole deeper concept.
Yeah, we can do
but,
another program
But at
on
the end
that,
of the
yeah.
day, like, the most important thing is asking the guided question, and really ideally in collaboration with the client. And some clients, they're really ready and advanced, right? Just
Yeah.
like even we work together, you're ready, you're so understanding that it's easy for you to pick it up. And sometimes I incorporate hypnosis NLP, neuristic programming, by doing closed eye process, so that people could quiet the mind, have them breathe, bring in gratitude, if they're open to that. Or sometimes they say, just tell me what it is, you know? And I'll be like, are you sure you don't want to really try to go within? And I want to support you to start getting your own information. Some are ready, some aren't.
Some are scared because it's a fear of unknown. They have never done this.
They have never done it, but it's not true because we all have had gut intuition.
Yeah, but when they don't know.
So it just means that we're going to take it to another level. That's all it means.
Consciously, they are not aware.
So it starts with first everything is channeling God, right? And then whatever I share with them in this case, the whole goal is to hopefully it feels right to them, because you never want to depend on a middleman or a translator like me. Nobody should depend on any psychic, medium, nobody, right? Yeah. However, when it feels right, then it's confirmation that you need to follow through.
That's true.
That's the best part about it.
Yeah.
And then the second part is, why is it so important to be clear on your purpose, your soul purpose, or why we're here, is because it accelerates not only our current life and fulfillment and happiness, but it will support us in the afterlife, because if we don't figure it out now, we're going to have to repeat it.
That's right.
So, and once you know your purpose, it's glorious because every decision is so much clearer and easier and less suffering. So it could support you on, should I get married? Should I have kids? What should I do for my career? You know, every little detail, literally you could just say, oh, does this fulfill my purpose or not? Is it aligned?
And I know that you're going to talk about it later, but I'm just going to say it. What Edmond does that is different, and you record everything with the permission of your client, and he sends the recording to the client. So I tend to do that too, because a lot of times when you're in a session with a client, your sessions sometimes go for 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours sometimes,
depending on what they choose. Yeah.
So the client won't remember every single thing that was said.
No.
And the fact that you have this recording and you can go back to it as many times as possible and keep learning and opening up, it's just fantastic. So I just want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you bringing.
Great thing to do.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because that's something that I had to learn the hard way. Where there's certain people I wanted to record, whether it was a therapist, cognitive behavioral therapist, counselor, or some kind of guru. They would never let me do it, even an intuit or psychic. And I was like, why? And I think they had fear for like lawyers, or something would go wrong or something. But I did appreciate those that did, and I do. The reason I do it is for what you just said, but it's also to save people money, because like a lot of times, you come back for the same thing and you haven't figured out the first. So I always encourage people, when we do the video calls, what's great about the video calls, they automatically, not only with your permission, you get the recording, but you get a full transcript. So it'll say your name, my name, so you could literally search it, you could go just what you want, and then you'll get the summary of it. As with AI, you'll get the summary of the whole thing. And then same with the phone calls are recorded, and then also in person we record it as well if you like. But yeah, I think that's the key, because a lot of us, we hear what we need, even in this together. There could be one nugget that could help somebody, but if they don't record it and write it down and start implementing it, they're going to have to come back again and again.
True.
So that's why we want to encourage people. People say, keep giving more, keep giving more. That's it, more. And I'm like, honestly, if you just did that, your life has changed.
Exactly.
So just do that.
Yeah. It's just like some books that you are listening to the audio or you're reading it. One of them is like the 4 Agreements.
Yeah, Miguel Ruiz is amazing.
Yeah, or The Alchemist, for example. I had these books on tape, and I would listen to them in the car or walking or doing whatever I was doing. You believe me, I probably have listened to those books more than 4 or 5 times each.
Good for you.
What happens is every time you listen to a book that is sort of, quote unquote, in a spiritual category, or, something is not just a romance or whatever, and you keep listening, you learn something else that you have never heard with your soul before. It's just like people who keep taking classes on the spirituality or, different things, you see them keep taking those classes with the same teacher or different teachers, and you wonder, why are you continuing so much? Because every time those lessons are being taught again, first of all, you're in another maturity of your life. And you have a background now because you have already listened to those or learned those. So you have another layer, and this is another layer on top of what you have learned. So you're learning it in a deeper and deeper mode right now.
100%.
So this goes exactly with what you do, because when you are doing therapy or coaching on them, the next time, the second or third time they're listening to it, they keep hearing things that they never even heard the first time.
It's true.
Because they weren't that conscious.
That's true.
So it's very important.
That's true.
So,
And I think to just kind of finalize this, I think this is a universal law. You have to really want it and do the work.
Yeah.
And you know, when you do the work and push through it, because we have challenges, it's so worth it, and that's what we both want to always spread, and with love and light, just push through it. Don't sweep it under the rug. We talked about that before.
God.
And you know, you can
Yeah.
never run from it. I've had to try to run through stuff and run away from situations and family. You can never run. As in India, one of my mentors is Tony Robbins' guru. We talked about Oneness University. His name is Bhagavan. There's like millions of people that follow him. So I had a chance to go a couple times, including for 1 month. So I was like, Bhagavan was like, Bhagavan was like, Edmond, you don't understand. You are trying to run away from your mom and your dad and your aunts. You cannot bear run away. It will persist. You must go to them, right? Like what he's basically trying to say is, you need to deal with it head on and clear what we need to clear, because when you do that, right, it's just, life is so much better. Otherwise, you're just suffering. It's just going to keep showing up in different ways.
Exactly, because it wasn't resolved.
Yeah, and then so
Yeah.
the key is, if you really want it, you're going to go through the recordings, you're going to go through that seminar, and then you're going to implement it.
Yeah.
And I learned something great also when I did all of Tony Robbins' work,
Right.
and I'm grateful to him as one of my mentors since I was 14 years old. So Chris Hendrickson, shout out Chris Hendrickson,
Yeah.
great guy. He's a sales rep many, many years for Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins mentioned his name as well, and his wife was involved with Tony Robbins as well. And so he was my rep, and so I wanted to go to every seminar. And I said, I want to go to this, but it's like $10,000. And he's like, Edmond, have you already implemented everything for the last seminar? I said, no. Have you done this already? I was like, no. He's like, my recommendation for you, and God bless his soul, because he would, if he was up to him, he would, and he wanted to make more money, he would just keep selling me seminars. He says, first implement, and once you've done this, okay, then go to the next step.
That's true.
And I was like, the best advice.
That's
so I
true.
think for all of us, just take that biggest thing, like Elon Musk, if you think about it, whether you love him or hate him, it doesn't matter. This guy created, you see Tesla and SpaceX, boring company. He helped Trump get elected. This guy took Twitter. He fired 80% of his staff. His ex running better than ever. Now, what is one of his biggest things? He knows how to deal with so much pain.
Yeah.
He knows how to deal with pain. So you deal with a little bit of pain, just a little bit, and then everything will be great. He knows where to go to the pain for each of the companies he's running. People are like, how the hell can this be a gamer? He's on X all the time. He's running the biggest companies in the world, and he's still promoting Dogecoin. How the hell is he doing all this? He knows. He says, I'm going to go to the biggest pain point of each company, and whatever that is, I'm going to go work with the key people and the engineers. We're going to solve the biggest pain points, and that's why his companies are worth so much. It's going to the root, and you do the root, and that's what I always want, and you're about that. We go to the root, and you just deal with the root. That's the key. Not all the side stuff.
That's true.
The roots.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Very true. And I'm becoming to like Elon Musk's Teslas, because my son bought his other one. Okay,
cool.
And I hated Tesla. I mean, I'm not going to drive a Tesla because I don't have a clue. It's like, it scares me when I take my foot off the brake and it stops. But my son just got the Cybertruck.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And during the fires, the last couple of weeks, we had to transfer stuff from our house to my sons and back and forth, he would say that, oh, drive in my car because inside, the air inside is fantastic.
Oh.
And it's like, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
comfortable, and the trunk,
Yeah.
the trunk can fit a
Yeah.
full-size mattress.
It's amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it
So-
could close, which is pretty cool also.
I know.
And it could also raise and come
Yeah.
up and down. And,
Yeah.
and guess what? He's getting closer and closer to full self-driving. So
Yeah.
he's not only the leader, but you have Google, Waymo, you have Chinese companies. So I've been in a Waymo. I used it. I paid for it, and I had it for a 1 week free trial many, many months ago.
Really?
And I was with my mom, and I was like, Mom, we're going to take a
I'm
Waymo.
gonna
She
get
had no idea.
scared.
She thought it was an
I
Uber.
know.
I was like,
I
come
get
in. And
scared.
she's like, what is going on here? She didn't see anybody in it. But she was scared at first, but then was like, cool.
No,
So it's the
same with
future.
me.
It's the future.
I know.
It's going to get better and better.
My son does the same thing. He's traveling right now. He says, "Oh, I'm watching DVD with my friend, and we're driving." And I said, "Oh my God, be careful!" I said, "Mom, it goes speed limit." Because when my son drives, he's always over the speed limit. So
I could imagine you're
I know.
worried. Your mom, you're worried.
But it's more comfortable if the car drives itself. But I'm scared of that. So
No, again, it's
You know.
still, the technology is still being worked on, but it's going to be interesting to see where it all goes.
yeah, I can't wait until we fly. The flying cars should come.
That's true. We heard about that how many years ago?
Oh my God.
We saw Back to the Future,
Yeah.
and we're like, okay,
Yeah.
it's coming,
We
right?
grew up with it. I mean, I grew up with it. You're much younger. But anyway, let me ask you a question about health. Yeah, you mentioned that many illnesses can be psychosomatic. I mean, I always talk about that too, or karmic. And you overcame Crohn's and bipolar yourself.
Right.
How does channeling God's guidance help clients heal physically, mentally, and spiritually?
Well, first, it's all God, right? So we want to
Yeah.
channel God to understand first at the root, what is someone's health problem? And so for those who didn't hear it last time, we briefly touched upon it. I had Crohn's disease, and for those who don't know, it's a stomach thing where it affects your colon, your gut, and in fact, in the past, if it's not treated, people die, or they would take out your colon, and you have to live
God
with a
forbid,
bag.
yeah.
And so my situation was very severe to the point where I had so much inflammation, not only in my stomach and body, but in my legs. So I was at Cedar Sinai Hospital, very sick. I was right now, I'm a healthy 6'1", and I was literally 50 pounds lighter than I'm now, which
Wow.
you never saw me then. You didn't know me back then.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like 13 years ago or something like that.
That's right.
But again, this was all part of the journey. It was difficult. Again, we talk about pain.
Yeah.
But the fact that I wanted to get healthier and figure out a natural way to get healthier, it's because I wanted it.
That's right.
I didn't have the gifts that I have now. I had the aptitude. And that's what I want to encourage people to know, that we can support you to get there closer, to get the connection. But the thing is, I found out after taking all the medications, 5 medications, prednisone, steroids, they had me on anti-cancer drug because the anti-inflammatory Asacol didn't work anymore, so they had me on mercaptopurine.
Oof, okay.
And that shuts down your immune system. It never felt right. The psychiatrist at the time said, oh, you're bipolar, so here's 2 drugs for that. Then I come back to him, I said, wait a second, something's wrong with me sexually. And then he's like, oh, well, let's just change this one to that one. Of course, that affects that area. I'm like, this is
Oh,
ridiculous.
my God. Okay.
Then the psychiatrist says, you're not motivated to leave your Beverly Hills apartment and go to your office in Santa Monica to run your business with your employee. Well, let's give you Adderall. So I'm on all this cocktail. And remember, my inner world was not really good, which affected my external world. So my
Of
inner world
course.
was, I didn't have enough self-love, self-worth. I was a little messed up. And this is after doing a lot of personal development. You
Oh.
think, oh, you did all this work and you have therapists, but there's different levels, right? So the blessing was that what I did to get healthy, and now it's over 11 years off all medications,
Thank God,
healthier than
yeah.
ever, happier than ever, right? The key was that I had somebody, just like how I do now, somebody said, you know what? The reason why you're sick is you're holding all your stress, your emotions, your childhood stuff, all of it in your stomach. And he said, you're holding it there, that's where it's manifested.
Yeah.
He said, you just come work with me, you have the aptitude to even do what I do. And I worked with him and his team, and that changed my life. And
How
then
old were you?
We're talking about 11 and a half years ago. I'm 48 now. So this is not that long ago. It's all very recent.
No, so you were independent. You were not a teenager.
No,
So you could decide.
No, I'm living on my own in Beverly Hills, but like I tried all different things. I literally tried diet approach. None of that worked. Again, there's a mind-body connection with diet and health, and what you put in is important. Yeah. But this just shows how everything that I've learned, not only from my experience in supporting others, but also from lots of the spiritual works, including the works in India and so many others, that most illnesses and diseases are psychosomatic, mind, stress, and karmic stuff and past life stuff. So that, not everything, but we could address that could make a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, when it goes to psychosomatic, I always tell people, if whatever medication they give you is not working, definitely it's not just physical. It's something from, as you said, maybe past life, maybe emotions, maybe your thoughts, everything. Mm-hmm. So we are saying this thing, just be aware of that. A lot of your pains can go away if you know what started them.
Yeah, what's the root of it, right? Yeah, what's the root of it? And we could do that, like, for example, just somebody has back pain, and it's not a physical thing. It's not like MRI, something's going wrong, and they say something's wrong. Then we know it has nothing to do with anything other than stress, emotion, mind. Then we have to find out, well, what is going on that's affecting your back? Because that person is holding stuff in their back, where I would hold it in my stomach. Some would hold it in their shoulder. And wherever the disease gets manifested, and then the best thing that I definition of disease that I love, I think I've shared this with you. Do you remember what disease stands for if you break it down?
Dis-ease.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you take the word disease, break it down, cut it in half, it's a dis-ease in the body. So really, at the end of the day, what's all this about? Everything that we're about here, that I'm about, is supporting you, encouraging you, whether you work with me or not, get to being in a beautiful, grateful, relaxed, happy state. Yeah. When you're in that state, then you also have ease. You're calm, you're relaxed, right? Yeah. And so I think that's the key, that's the most important thing, and that's part of the journey. People say, how do I do it? Well, then that's where, are you motivated enough? If you could work on your own, do it. If you can't do it, that's where you get support from people like Noushin, Dr. Noushin, myself, or others that you trust and feel good. My goal is to do it quickly for you, but you have to want it. We could do quick, like somebody has a back pain for years, we could do it in an hour if they want it, and we ask God and the guides to support you and heal you. Everything could be done quickly if it's possible.
Exactly, and if you want it. This is very important.
That's it.
Because
want.
I mean,
belief and want.
Yeah. So I mean, thank God to all the medical doctors, but I'm not a true believer. And my husband is a true believer. If you don't have you're not an MD, you're nobody. But me, if you are a healer, you are everybody to me. So.
Thank God for me.
I know.
God bless me.
I know. It's like I go and I seek alternative medicine and everything, and doctors or healers. Yeah. And I'm very happy with it. I mean, I just canceled my knee replacement surgery on the 22nd. So as much as I can, I don't want to be cut up with knives under a doctor's bed. So anyway.
Yeah, and we talked about it, and it felt strong when we channeled God. We talked about, is it okay that we talked about that? Yeah. And I think what's great about that was it showed that you were listening. You were listening, and you were connected, and you were guided, and that was the right decision. Yeah. And I'm really proud of you. Is it okay to share what you've kind of done?
Sure. I mean,
share what you've done.
I haven't shared
that
yet.
work. Share that work that you've done.
I did because energy healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a friend of mine, and basically, I mean, it's going to sound weird to you guys, perhaps.
No, say it, because this is what we're about. This is what. As soon as you said it, I knew what it is. Please explain it.
Edmond understands. So I don't share this with everyone, even though I'm publicly sharing it right now.
Are you thinking they're going to think you're crazy?
No, I mean, it was like I have been operated on without me knowing. This is the feeling. I was under trance, a light trance, and I was in this beautiful Garden of Eden, basically, laying down. And when I came out of the trance, my friend who was conducting the whole thing was saying that, oh, they did surgery on you. And I said, yeah, you told me, but what? And she said, what is cartilage? I said, what do you mean, but what is cartilage? Before going on the trance, I said, these are spirits that work on you. Can they put a cartilage between my knees? On my knee joint. And she said, they put a cartilage in your knee joints. That's why this operation took so long. And it's going to take a while, but it's going to start rebuilding. I did stem cell therapy last year, but it didn't do anything.
Oh, I didn't know that. Stem
Yeah.
cells can be very powerful, especially if it's from umbilical cords.
No,
And
it was from my blood.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
not the powerful one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, U.S., we have a broken healthcare system, but out of the country, that with umbilical cords, if it's done right, it could be life-changing. But anyways, continue, go on.
I did that, it didn't work, but I have started walking, thank God, and thanks to my friend. And I'm not going to say her name because I'd like to have her permission because we just went into this.
Yeah, but you should plug her because
Yeah.
we're all in the same game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I call it God healing, and she's doing it her own way.
Yeah,
you know, which
she
is
is.
beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And I told you that felt strong, and continue
is.
it because it's still process. It's
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It's like, you know, people say I got to get my second surgery. Well, just finish it up.
So-
it feels strong, so we're going to come back and update and see how it
Exactly.
works.
So what
And this is
happened?
not me. I'm not
No,
dealing
no,
with this,
no,
but
I know.
we're praying for her to have a full recovery
Me
without
too.
having to go under the knife. Because
Yeah.
what's the point? What we learn from all the teachings and all the work and God's guidance is that once you go in there, just like they said, hey, they scared me and my family and my parents.
Right.
They said with the Crohn's, they said, hey, if you don't listen to us, you stop the medication, you're going to have to
Yeah.
come back. We're going to have to cut you open.
That's
you have to
true.
live with the
That's
bag.
true.
We have
Yeah.
to take out your colon. And you know, at the end of the day, it's all fear. But
Yeah.
what's going to happen is once you get cut up, you can never go back. Once a body part gets taken out, you can never go back. So encourage others, if it's possible, seek these alternatives. And stem cells is an example,
Yeah.
and God's healing and getting to the root. If something has to do with obviously the mind or partially, we want to obviously benefit, you know, take advantage
Sure.
of those things.
Yeah. So just going back, I just want to finish what happened to me.
Yeah, please.
I had a program here the next day, and I couldn't walk. I came in with a cane, and everybody asked me, what's going on? I said that my knee was being operated on in the other.
It's crazy, right?
Well,
I know, it's amazing.
basically.
It's amazing.
So I had pain for almost a week, couldn't walk much, and then started getting better. But to tell you the truth, I believe in that and the power of self-healing more than getting on the knife, just the way you said it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thanks to all the medical doctors. I love them. We have a lot
I love
of
you
them.
all too. My
Yeah.
first cousins.
Yeah.
Shire, shout out to Shire Baumshad, Babak Baumshad,
I know.
all of my family.
We all do, but you know, there is another thing on the other side that can help us too. So
Shout out to my mom, Edna Torbati, pharmacist,
Yeah.
who wanted me to sign a contract when I was telling her I'm going to come off of the medication, the anti-cancer medication, because she was worried I was going to die.
Yeah, of course.
But shout out to her because it's fear.
Yeah.
I don't blame her. She's operating in the Western modern science world.
That's
you
true.
know.
That's true. Mariam Jun, how much time do we have? 10 minutes? Okay, I have at least 3 questions that I have to ask.
Yeah. Let's
so
shoot.
I'll be quick. So, in the area of happiness,
Yeah.
what does it mean to experience true happiness, and
Mm-hmm.
how do you use God's wisdom to guide clients toward lasting joy and fulfillment?
It's just being joyful for no reason. Just like you and I, you know, we're just gonna laugh and
Yeah.
just be in a good place. It kind of reminds me of like when we go out and people see me, they don't really know me, and I'm like partying, I'm having fun, I'm hugging people, I'm laughing, and they were like, "What are you drinking? What are you on?" I'm like, "No, I don't
That's right, yeah.
I don't do drugs. I don't drink." Well,
Yeah.
why don't you drink? I don't need to drink. It's poison.
Yeah.
I choose not to put that in my. But once in a while, sure, I'll have a drink with you guys or whatever. Preferably if it's organic or something, like I'll make them laugh. But in reality, in the past, I would feel peer pressured for that kind of stuff, because I would have to feel like, okay, I got to drink to feel accepted.
That's right.
But the point is just being joyful for no reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's the bliss that I want for everyone. And even if you look at any guru, and I've studied many of them, I've been around many of them, many personal development guys, coaches, or whatever, nobody's going to always be happy. But the goal is to always be in that beautiful, grateful, happy state, right? And then as soon as you're moving away from that and getting into a suffering state, right? That could be anything, suffering could be anything from fear, anxiety, worry, jealousy, anything, right? At the end of the day, once you're going there, the key is let's support you with tools to get out of it quick. Most of the time, we want to stay in suffering because we're addicted to suffering.
Yeah.
Right? As Bhagavan would say, you are all addicted to suffering.
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell does that mean? We're not addicted. But in reality, what that means is we're getting a lot of needs met by going in that state. Right? Whether we want attention, whether we want somebody to give us love, whether we want to feel important. So we'll go into these unconsciously sometimes, and we just got to get out of it. So you have to want to, and you said it, victim.
In especially the Persian culture, we do have that a lot. People.
No. What do you mean? Everybody's the happiest. What do you mean?
Everybody
they're happy in
loves-
their their Mercedes and the BMW and their big house. What do you mean?
Honestly,
What do you mean, Dr. Noushin?
They do love to be victims, and it's like everybody feels sorry for them. Honestly, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me, so I don't want anybody to be jealous of me, but I don't want anybody to be sorry for me. Either way, I just want to be happy myself, and it's true. That's what we actually do. We bring happiness to people's lives through their own.
Yeah, but I think the message is when if I'm not happy, how can I radiate and support others? And I think that's the most important thing that we want for all of you, is that you have to first be that example for you, your family, for your kids, for your significant other, spouses, whatever. Then once you are that, and you're walking at that high vibration of love and light and God energy and beautiful, grateful, relaxed state, then guess what? People are going to be like, what's going on? I want some of that. I guarantee you that alone will potentially increase the odds of them raising their consciousness.
True.
Right? But if you're here and you're not that happy and you're trying to like help them be happy, like it's not going to work. It's like somebody who smokes, like a chain smoker, right? And tells their kid, never smoke, but they're chain smoking. Well, it's the same thing. Like, you're not really going to be a good example.
True.
So do it for yourself, but imagine how beautiful it is for the world.
Yeah, when you're happy, there is always a light that shines from the inside, and it just reflects all over the place. The same thing, if you're sad, nobody wants to be around you.
Yes,
It's like,
that's true.
You know,
That's true.
I don't want to go somewhere and see somebody who's like all the time sad and wants to talk bad about everybody. I want to go somewhere to smile and be happy and be charged when I come out.
Yes, that's
Not
true.
Not to drain my energy. So, I mean, we recommend that to everyone. If you need help, please reach out to Edmond. He does you do free consultation for like half an hour, 20 minutes?
I do a complimentary 30-minute intro session.
Yeah.
They could book on edmondtorbati.com, and I'm grateful to do that. And so this way you get a little bit of an idea of how I operate.
Yeah.
Hopefully it supports you. And then you could also ask me any questions on how it would work going forward potentially. And of course you could come in person in Santa Monica. Not only can we meet in person, sit down in a room quiet, but also I'm 4 blocks from the park in Santa Monica and the beach. So when you do like 2-hour power sessions, we could always go and do it outside too, which is an option, you know.
Yeah, I did that too. That was wonderful.
Oh, yeah, remember. That was awesome. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for always being so open about it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean,
Is there anything you want to share about maybe, you wanted to get to that? So
I want to ask the questions first.
should we answer the happiness thing? Or
Yeah.
did we answer it?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
About how to get happy, though?
Okay, now how can
So
we
how,
get happy?
how can we support you getting in a happy,
Yeah.
beautiful, grateful, relaxed state? Well, we're always going to ask God directly, just like a doctor would pinpoint with an MRI, right? And go in to see exactly what's going on. Well, we just need to go directly. Okay, what's your purpose? What's really holding you back? Oh, you have hurts with your dad? Okay, well, that's a big issue. Let's clear that up. Why did you choose your dad in this life? And then once you clear that up, okay, let's work on your self-love. Let's measure it. Where are you at? How happy are you from 0 to 10? What's your self-worth? So once we go pinpoint, hopefully you just have a couple tweaks, and then that will support you. And you have to want it, and it's a choice to be happy. Because when I was depressed or bipolar, it was all about what I didn't have. It was all about lack instead of like, how can I give? How grateful am I? If you do the work, then you will have that sustained.
That's true. Yeah. And your recordings really, really help because they can go
thanks.
back and forth and listen to it.
Thank you, thank you.
Let me ask you another question regarding career.
Yeah.
Career decisions can be overwhelming. And how does channeling God help individuals clarify their direction, whether finding a new job, starting a business, or elevating their current role?
It always starts again with God, so
God.
we want to channel and hopefully collaboration to see if it feels right, that their career is aligned with, we first make sure what their purpose or sole purpose. Once that's clear, we want to make sure it's aligned. And then when the information tells them this feels right, then hopefully it supports them. Let's move in that direction. Let's game plan it and help support you. If this is the route, or do we need a new job? Or are you starting a business? Or you need to go to school? Whatever it is, we just want to keep channeling God, and we want you to go within to keep trusting. So that's why it's all connected. And then when we love each other, it will make a better decision. Because if we don't need to go prove something, like I used to my dad or others around me, that I'm something, then I'm going to go make a decision like a lot of people in our community. And I say, why did you go to law school? Well, it's good to have it. Are you going to practice law? No. So, like, we know that decision was not a good decision. I don't need to have connection to God to know. It's very obvious. So, is that going to affect their happiness, their fulfillment, their afterlife? Of course it will.
True.
It's just not guided.
That's true. Yeah. Let me ask you the last question quickly before we have to leave.
No, this is perfect. This is great.
On area of relationships. Relationships shape our lives from parents to partners.
Yeah.
And why do you believe healing these connections is vital? And how do you help clients resolve issues and strengthen bonds through God's guidance?
Life is relationships.
Yep.
Life is relationships. And I want you guys to sit and think about that. Life is relationships.
Very true.
Think about it. Without relationships, what is life?
Nothing.
Nothing. And why are these relationships here? And why do we choose our parents when we come here on earth? Is we need to learn and grow. It's for accelerated growth. So a lot of people, we need to first get into that. Number one I always get into is, how do you feel about your parents?
Right.
Because that directly correlates with trusting in relationships, money flow, career, happiness, health, obstacles in life. They're all connected to both. And it doesn't matter if you have a relationship with your father or mother, or if they passed away, if you've ever known them. It's all inner work. So we get to the root of that, and we get to look together, and we get information from God. Why did you choose this person? Why then? And then once you see that, you can never go back to the non-truth. If you do, then you're lying to yourself. So the truth is, there's no reason to be angry at dad, because this is why I chose dad, this is why I chose mom. And then same goes with other relationships. We need to take a look at the relationships you have with your siblings, relationships you have with significant others, and we need to dive deep and what's causing the pain, what's causing the suffering, what do you need to learn from this, are you supposed to stay in this relationship? And it's a collaboration, because I don't know you, but I'm only sharing what I'm getting, and the more info you give us, then we start game planning it.
That's true. That's true. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Mariam, are we okay with time? Okay. Oh, okay. 2 minutes. All right.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Before we go, quickly, can you give us some more examples of psychosomatic diseases?
Everything.
Anything can be. I know.
It's everything. It's everything. Like, for example, even right now, I'm supporting a client. And I'm grateful to her that, she she dealt with cancer, right? And the thing with that is what people need to know is that when I tune into that, because an area is for health, is I'm tuning into what's really going on. And at the root level was that this person did not want to live. This person didn't have any hope for the future. This person hated themselves. This person didn't love themselves. It's almost like the person wanted to be gone, right? And it's almost the exit. We won't get into the details of it out of respect.
No, I know. I mean, the reason I'm asking is...
It's rectal.
Okay.
But the point is, it doesn't matter.
Because rectal goes to the first chakra.
Yeah, and again, that's fine as sharing because nobody knows who this person is. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is, when we went to the root of it, we see, when we ask God, what is the root of all this stuff? And in this case, it really didn't even have to do with karmic and past lives for this person. And that's why everything has to be connected. Everybody has to check in what foods are right for you, what exercises. It's not just by the book. We have to channel and check in. And it's a work in progress if you want to build upon it, right? But the point is, when someone lets that go, right, whether it's somebody who had a back situation and in 1 hour the back is gone, it's the same thing. It could be any kind of illness, right? So as long as it's something that is connected, or most of it is that, and then diet and other things could also be part of it, right? Other healing modalities, and that's what we keep asking God, what other things will help? Oxygen therapy, stem cell, this, that. There's other things, and we channel and tune into that. Does that make sense?
Very much, yeah. Thank you so much, Edmond.
Thank you.
That
I love
really
you. God bless you.
That was
You're
much
amazing.
easier for me to do it in English because I didn't have to translate and
because I would keep asking her in Farsi, what is this word, and then she had to translate. So thanks for giving me permission to do that today.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you. Asre,
thank you all too. God bless you all.
Thank you. You can go back if you want to see the Farsi, the prior Farsi ones. They're on my YouTube channel and on Asre Emrooz TV, Chehraha. And you can watch them, and we can put the link as well. So thank you very much for watching. Please share this with your loved ones. I'm very sure that they're going to get a lot out of it.
Thank you. خوشحال شدم. خداحافظ. خیلی دوستتون داریم.
Thank you.
Love you. God bless you. God bless you all. Okay.